Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Jess. I'm going to be doing an energy power tarot reading for you. It is a reading that helps people focus on their intentions and how to balance kind of their light and their shadow to achieve what they want to achieve. And tonight the moon is in Sagittarius, and so what I've done is I have decks that reflect fire signs and air signs here, because air is the opposite, the polarity of Sagittarius. So Gemini is the air sign that is the polarity for Sagittarius. And so now I'm going to get started. We've got a smoky quartz here. Kind of looks like a bird. I think it looks kind of like a hen or a duck. I don't know if that means anything to anybody, but if you like birds, maybe this is a reading for you. It's good for Sagittarius, good for focusing on how to expand through practical means. If you're into magic, you're in luck, because I do magic in this video for the collective. So if you're into that, stick around at the end. I use this pyramid here that's got an orgone-like energy. I created it myself. It's got plastic and gemstones, and yeah, it's got quartz and jeweler's brass, which is like brass and zinc, though it won't tarnish. And I also have playing cards too that I use to clarify everything. So I'm going to get started with this dream deck here. This is the Hero's Journey Dream Oracle by Kelly Sullivan Walden. Now this is the intention card. I'm going to shuffle this off camera. I also forgot to do the disclaimer, so I'll do that now. If you feel no one is listening, the universe is. This is a general reading meant for your enlightenment and entertainment. Keep what applies and let the rest fly. Here I go. Now we've done the official opening. Spirit, what is the intention of the collective on this Sagittarius moon, this waning crescent moon? Moon of cleaning and clearing, endings. Alright. We have number 30. Dream redirection. Redream this situation. Oh, that's interesting. Now what I do is I read out of the book, but I don't read the whole thing, because that would be boring. What I do is I read part of it. So I'm going to get my book out. This is a ring that I made. It's kind of fun. Number 30. This way you'll be able to see it. So I'll show you part of it here. I'll show you that part. There can't be any large-scale revolution until there's a personal revolution on an individual level. It's got to happen inside first. Quote is by Jim Morrison. Oh, from The Doors. Give you a little look here. And then I'm going to read and pick out some things I feel are relevant. If you face a challenge with an important person in your waking life, change the scene in your private meditation or in the privacy of your journal to the way you most wish it would be played out. Life is a dream, and you are the writer, director, and wardrobe consultant. And the dream symbols are movies, plays, and theater events. They say that you could be shedding light on something that needs to be looked at in order to rewrite your life story. So we've got that. Now, redream the situation. I'll have to check and see what the other cards are, but it sounds like something along the lines of perhaps a relationship situation. It doesn't have to be, though. It can be career. It can be something that you really love. And perhaps it's like time to take it into a new direction. I'm not saying to let it go. I'm saying to just take it in a new direction. So if that's the case, it's probably more likely career. If it's a relationship, well, it gets more complicated. Now let's take a look at the stimulating energy, which is the light energy. This is the Healing Light Tarot by Christopher Butler. I'm shuffling off camera again. Spirit, what is the light energy that can help people redream their situation, either career or relationship, even finances, getting finances for people? Okay. Alright, first card we have is Four of Pentacles. And then the second card we have is Two of Swords. Interesting energies here. Now, this deck I tend to use for shadow work. Usually if there's shadow, there's light. But it is my most fiery deck. And I feel like the light energy is most exalted with Sagittarius leaning, since at the time of this reading, the moon is in Sagittarius. Let's see the light and keep that in mind. The light energies here that stimulate things. Okay, so we have the Four of Pentacles. I think of 4 as a number of home, number of feeling at home. With 4 of Pentacles, usually, well, that's a Capricorn placement also. But it's basically the time where somebody has just enough. They have just enough money. They have just enough love to give. They have just enough love they receive. But it's not really contentment. It's more like accepting what one has. Perhaps wanting more, though. In this deck, this man is carrying this globe. It's almost like a light orb. He's carrying something that's bigger than himself. And what little he has seems to be such a burden. The next card is the Two of Swords. In this one we have a bird flying. There's a, I think this is a woman with a moon on her forehead. And it's funny, it's the waning crescent. This is actually not the waning, this is like the waxing crescent, I believe. And so, but it is the crescent moon today. I'll just take it as that. This is somebody who needs to make a decision without thinking logically or even really emotionally. They need to think intuitively. They need to like feel and think intuitively to make their decision on how to rewrite their situation. What are the things that need to be removed? What are the things that need to be added? With stimulating energy, I'd say it's the thing that allows somebody to fly away from this. Now, yes, the 2 comes before 4, but I'm going by the symbols here. Now, 2 is, I think of stability, but like more like building a foundation. Whereas 4 is kind of like the already established foundation. 2 of Swords is Libra. Libra energy. And this part of Libra is like the beginning of Libra. The beginning of Libra is the person who's just finding out they need to make a decision and they need to look at both sides of things. But this person isn't able to see anything. To make their decision, they need to feel it and heal it. You know, this Weight Dove to me is like they're healing. I'd say the person who I'm reading for, or people who I'm reading for, there could be lots of people watching right now, they are in this place of feeling like they are carrying a burden. And it's like something that most people would say is so small. They'd be like, that's a burden to you? Really? Well, it doesn't matter what they think. It matters how you feel. So let's take a look at the depleting energy. This energy power is all about balancing the energy so you can follow through on your intentions to achieve your goals. This is the Aquarian Tarot. Oh, by David Palladini. I see this deck as kind of being more airy because of all the watercolors, but it just has this interesting bite to it with all the reds and pinks and oranges in it. I feel like it has this kind of Spitfire quality, and I think of air as being sort of Spitfire. So I'm shuffling off camera again. Alright. Spirit, what is the shadow energy, the depleting energy, to figuring out how to rewrite their situation? Okay, so we've got 1, 2. Alright. So let's take a look at this card. Oh, yeah, we'll just do it from left to right. We have the Magician here. And we have the 7 of Swords. Now, I kind of see like these 2 cards as mirrors and these 2 cards as mirrors. But I'm just writing from left to right just for content, just so that it's easier to follow. But just keep that in mind, that the 7 of Swords is mirroring the 4 of Pentacles. And the Magician is mirroring the Two of Swords. Let's pick up the Magician here. Now, number 1 is the number of starting new things. It's initiation, it's beginnings. The Magician has just started his journey after not really knowing much, but that he wanted to go on a journey, to start a journey, and he realized he needed to gather all of the elements to head off into a new world he's going into to achieve his goals. So he's here with all of the elements. He's got the water, the fire, the air, and the earth, all denoted here on this table. He even has the snake belt, which is interesting. The snake is kind of like eating itself. And the Magician is Mercury energy. I kind of see Mercury as sort of being the one who bites their own head off. You know, they got all these thoughts and they're overwhelmed. But the Magician's job is to be able to tame all of those things. So I'm being asked to put that one in reverse by Spirit. I'll talk about that in a little bit. So now we have the Seven of Swords. And this energy, the 7 is a number, it's a number of new spiritual beginnings. It's a number of like new decisions to be made, which direction to go in. You see the swords here. And in the past, I've read this card as somebody just gathering up, kind of like gathering themselves together. In fact, I don't see this guy as stealing. I see him as gathering what he can and leaving what he can't carry behind. Oh, it's interesting how we have 2 swords left behind. That's how it usually is. And I see this mirroring these, and I'll hold them up together on the other one too. But if you can see this here, you know, this guy is carrying this. He's carrying this globe, this light orb, and he almost is like saying it's like a badge of honor to be carrying what he has, to be holding on to what he has. He's like it's holding him back. He's like saying, oh, I can only carry this much. I can't carry the rest of it. I don't want to carry the rest of it. Or is it I can't carry the rest of it? Well, if it's I don't want to carry the rest of it, then it's a different story, isn't it? Because I don't want to carry the rest of it, I can just leave it behind. I don't have to worry about it. That's a good shadow quality to have. Because sometimes light, too much light can blind you, and it can be kind of toxic actually. I mean, just think of it when people go out in the sun too long, they get burned. So just because it's light energy doesn't mean it's purely perfect, wonderful, blissful energy. When I see light and shadow, I think more of how one is more stimulating and one is more depleting. I don't think of how it's all absorbing or all light. Now let's take these two, and this is still in reverse here. Now we have the Two of Swords. And this Magician, he's, or a non-binary female, it doesn't have to be he, but it's easier for me to just channel it because there's a guy in the card. He's confused. He's genuinely confused. He wants to know which direction to go in to start his journey. He doesn't realize that he doesn't have to think about all that he knows to move forward, or all that he feels, or all of the senses he has, or all of the thoughts he has. He doesn't have to. It's not about that. It's about where he is in the present moment. This person is sitting here in the moment, and they need to figure out where to go. But there's no way to do it except to just be in the present moment. Close their eyes, breathe, and let whatever comes into their head, whatever thoughts fly in, whatever feelings they have, because of the thoughts, let it all come in and acknowledge it. And then they can make their decision. So we can turn him up right now. If he does that, he'll be a better magician. That's what better is. Better is being in the moment and assessing things when you just allow them to appear in your head, instead of trying to create some kind of special thing, when really you just need to create a thing. So we're just gonna do that, just that way you can see everything. So yeah, let that show through. It's a lot to take in. When I do these readings, I'm actually doing them for me too. This is a way for me to expand my awareness of how I do things. And I feel like I can help all of you too. You don't have to do this alone. On YouTube, there's probably thousands of tarot readers. They all have different styles. I'm not somebody who promises things. I'm not going to tell you that a new love is coming in. I'm not going to tell you that you're going to get like a windfall of money. That's not how I work. Not usually. The only way I'd even be able to tell you those things is if it was personal readings, and I don't do personal readings anymore for my own reasons why. But I do these general readings, and I hope that there's something here for you. So yes, the universe is listening 24/7. People don't a lot of times. They're not able to. We're energy, but we're inside of a physical body. We have to rest, we have to eat, we have all sorts of other things we have to do to survive. And yes, there is life beyond. I'm a medium, so I know there's life beyond the earth. There's life beyond the four walls. But I hope that all of you can pick up the difference here. The difference between what you usually get out in the world and what it's like to hear it from somebody who's been through a lot of pain and who's experienced lots of disappointments, when the next big thing is going to come along. I'm just not going to do that to you. Even if I'm making it big, I certainly won't be promising you that you'll get to where I am, because your journey is different. So you may get to where I am, whether I'm at the top or not. Or you may not. You may have a completely different way of doing things, and you'll be in a different place than me. And that's fine. Where I am right now, I'm actually this guy. I have enough to survive. I'm proud that I survived. However, I realize that the more I'm in this energy, the more I can be a better magician. Everybody, I will say this, everybody has the power to be a magician. I will say that. That's my gut instinct. Because energy, everybody experiences energy, everybody is energy. We're energy here on Earth, and then when we pass away, well, when people pass away, we become energy again, but like an even more concentrated energy. Think of it this way. You know how there's detergent? There's like detergent that's liquid, and it's like very obvious how it works. And then you have detergent that's like in a pod, and that's like way more concentrated. Well, it's like that. Like on Earth, the humans are liquid detergent. Everything is gonna wash up the way it washes up. That's it. And then you got the pods. Well, the pods tend to like expand, like all the stuff comes out and it can't contain itself. It bursts open, and that's what a soul's energy really is when it gets to the other side. Lots of people actually feel that way when they're here. And I have that problem. I feel like I'm a bundle of energy. 10:001 just went on my timer. Somebody's watching. I feel everybody's being watched by the world, but they're also watched by the energetic beings above. Or actually, they're like more like at our level, but slightly higher. So that's where I am right now. And now I'm going to clarify this with the playing cards. And these are small playing cards. I like the small ones. My first video, I kind of I had some fun. I used like ones that were smaller than this. But if I use miniature cards in my videos, this is the size they're going to be from now on. And I will still be shuffling them off camera because I am a better shuffler off camera. Trust me on this. So I will be doing that now. And I picked these cards because they have the back of this little gambling town in Nevada called Reno. And call it the biggest little city in the world. I believe that's what they say about it. Has neon signs, and then it has like all these gambling, you know, all the casinos, and they have lights. I'm hiccuping right now. Oh, excuse me. I drank more there in 1 week than I did like all of 2021. All of 2021 and 2020, I like barely had anything. Yeah. The world's changed a lot since certain events happened, but this is a timeless reading, so I'm not really going to mention that too much. Alright. Spirit, please help me clarify the stimulating energy. Okay, got 1, 2. Gotta shuffle again. This is hard. Shuffling these is so small. Spirit, help me please clarify the intention card. Thank you. Oops. Oh. We got 2. I don't know how that's gonna work. There's a spell, but we'll see. And let's pick one card for the stimulating energy, because the spell is really important here. So, these are all getting reversed and stuff. Good thing they're not regular tarot cards. I don't usually read reversals unless Spirit tells me to. I've decided it's a lot easier to see if I see it upright. Okay. Spirit, please help me clarify with one card the Magician and Seven of Swords, depleting energy. Thank you. Okay. So. Alright. Alright. Look at that. They're all black again. I keep getting cards that are like all one suit or the other. Maybe they're not being shuffled right or something. I have no idea, but usually ends up working out. So, we've got the Seven of Spades clarifying, Four of Pentacles, Seven of Spades is Seven of Swords. So that's interesting that it's in the mirror position here. And we have the Nine of Clubs, which is the Nine of Wands. And that is clarifying the Two of Swords. And now we've got two cards clarifying the intention card. So we've got the Two of Clubs, which is the Two of Wands. And then we have the Five of Clubs, which is the Five of Wands. And then we have one card clarifying two cards. So this would apply to both cards. We have the Five of Spades, which is the Five of Swords. Alright. This is interesting. So, usually I go from left to right. So I'm going to do that again. It's just easier flow. So let's get started here. Now, the Seven of Spades, Seven of Swords. Well, I feel like in order to make this work, in order for this burden to be less of a burden, one needs to congratulate themselves for being able to gather up the courage to move on, to move forward. I feel like that's what this guy is doing. He doesn't look like he's stealing to me. I've got to put my ring on. Wait a minute. I love my ring. It helps me get in the mood. So, we have this guy, and he just looks like he's just carrying what he wants to carry forward to me. He doesn't look like he's stealing. In some decks, he's like really sneaky looking, and then it's like, yeah, he's probably stealing. But it's like, perhaps what's best here to help rewrite your situation, whatever it may be, is to look at things as, I'm gathering up my courage to move on, to move forward, to rewrite my story. Now, we have this Nine of Wands. 9 is a number of spirituality as well. 9 is Sagittarius. Oh, 7, I forgot to mention that 7 is Aquarius. I'm not sure that means much here. I didn't really mention it, so I'm not going to worry too much about it. But Aquarius is more about like facing your fears, facing things alone. But yet, you're facing it alone because you're like understanding others. You understand what they've been through. And so it's like you don't feel so alone when you're facing things, but you have to face things alone anyways. Nine of Wands. 9 is Sagittarius energy, which, you know, it's the Sagittarius moon tonight. I'd say with this, with the 9 of Wands, well, that's like the Wounded Warrior card. And this person has usually fought many battles. They've been fighting people for so long that they don't even know what it's like to not fight somebody. And with the 2 of Swords, I think if you want to rewrite your situation in terms of how you deal with others, or perhaps not fighting, just, but not agreeing either, just accepting what somebody says without saying anything, being quiet. I was in the moonlight. There's something about like the moon that creates quiet. That's what I feel. I feel like there's something about moonlight. It makes me want to be quiet. Maybe that's why I fight so hard when I'm doing my readings at night. It's like it's so painful to even talk. I didn't even realize that until now. Okay. Now we've got 2 of Wands and the 5 of Wands. And I've already talked about 2s, but I'll mention it again. 2s are like about like building a foundation, about sitting quietly and figuring out what to do next. And then the 5 of Wands. 5 is, you know, about kind of like fighting, but in a way that's more like because you feel like it's the right thing to do. It's not fighting because you're tired or because you know so much. It's fighting because you feel like it's time to fight. Time to get back in the ring and fight. And in terms of rewriting your situation, well, I'd say that you may have to think about how you fight. How do you get prepared? See, the 5 of Wands is usually about kind of like silly fighting, like play fighting. And, you know, there are people who say life is a game, and it is hard to hear that, especially if your life has been real serious. Here, I'm going to switch these here. If your life has been really serious, it's like when somebody says that, it like trivializes it. But yeah, in the RWS, the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, they're like play fighting. They're not really fighting in a bad way. They're kind of like jabbing, jousting, you know, just kind of playing around. It's not like the 5 of Swords or the people actually like really hurting each other. I'm mentioning that because we have the 2 of Swords here. Yeah, in terms of the 2 of Wands too, the 2 of Wands is all about making a decision. It's about having the world in your hands and seeing what's ahead and deciding which way to go. Or at least I should say, like, being in the place to decide. You haven't decided yet. I think that's where you need to be. Is perhaps you need to not worry and to not take things so seriously. I know that's hard to hear. But I guess what I mean by that is like, don't take things personally. Take it like people are all here and we're doing the best we can. And a lot of times we put up our defenses to face the day. And sometimes when people do it, it's not coming off like play. Sometimes it's hurtful. But since this card came out, perhaps what you're dealing with is just people who are like in a lot of pain, and they want to just kind of feel like they can get through by kind of laughing at a few things. Maybe they even have to poke fun at something. Maybe there's something that's silly. I hate to say it, maybe even you're acting silly. I mean, it could be anything. And of course, you know, if somebody goes too far, you need to push back. But there's ways to push back without fighting majorly. And it's funny because now here's the Five of Swords. I forgot this came out. I've been channeling. I mentioned the Five of Swords. Here it is. And I was just mentioning that. So we have it with the Magician and the Seven of Swords. And it's more cutthroat. Again, 5 is about fighting what you feel is right. And like usually when it comes to swords, well, it's a double-edged thing. It's like it can either be the thing that cuts through and stops something really bad from happening, or it's the kind of thing that can cut through and it starts a fight, starts a war. And I think perhaps you need to figure out what your war is, and is it worth fighting for the war? Because 5 is also about what you're worth. It's like, what are things worth? What is your soul worth? What is your passion worth? What value are you willing to put in to fighting to create the life you want? You know, how much longer are you gonna like gather things together to fight? How much longer are you gonna gather your courage to fight? Sometimes you just have to fight. Actually, I should say all the time. All the time, every day you wake up and you face the day. It doesn't mean like you have to fight through the day. Sometimes you do. But it's important to realize it's not always going to be a fight. Even in the worst circumstances. I've been in some tough ones. And I have days where I don't fight the whole day through. It's real easy with like a chronic illness, and I have a few. Where you're like, oh, I'm fighting all the time. No, you most likely aren't. Not with everything, but with a few things, yes. And I'll give you an example. I do talk about myself because, you know, I spend a lot of time on my own. So if you're not into stories, this may not be for you. My readings may not be your cup of tea. Or shade. I had to throw that in there. It's got light and shadow here. Your cup of tea or coffee here, when we see it that way. Let's see, I have bipolar disorder. Bipolar 1, so that means I have psychosis issues. So, I mean, I face psychosis on a daily basis, but I keep it at bay because I take my medicine, and I do what my therapist says. I work on the things that I need to do better in life. And then I also have Arlen Syndrome, which is a neurological condition that causes certain things to move on the page. Now, with there's different cases where like the things move on the page differently, but they all have one thing in common. Black text or objects on a white background move. For most people, black text on white is stationary, and then the color moves if they have like vision issues or something. Like my dad, he has nearsightedness, so like if it's far away, the color seems to be moving, but the black text is staying. For me, it's the opposite. My glasses are off. Right now, I've been wearing different types of lenses to figure out what's right, and I'm wearing color that I feel is the right one. And it's a lot easier to see these pips. A lot easier to see them. They're not moving. They're a little blurry because I'm tearing up, but they're not moving. I know what they are, and they're not causing me pain. But yeah, I mean, there's certain things where, I mean, those are the two things that are the toughest. And I have a few other things, but I won't go into that because I don't think it's necessary. But those are the two biggest ones I faced. And it isn't a struggle every moment of the day, some days. It isn't. I have to remind myself that. Because if I allow myself to think that every moment of my days are a struggle, my life is going to be full of struggle. I'm not saying that positive thinking is the only way to deal with things either. I'm not saying like, oh, if I think positively, everything will be fine all the time. No, it's not it either. But I am saying you have to accept the good with the bad. See this guy, he's accepting the good and the bad. But it's like he may want more. He's got the beginning of something good here, but it's like he may want more. He may want more light here. It's like he's begun to make the light come to him. But there's a lot of struggle first sometimes for lots of people to get that light going. Let me just talk about the signs too on these cards. I feel like I didn't really do that much. So I told you about Aquarius here. And then 9 is Sagittarius. 2 is Libra. 5 is Leo. And Leo is really strong. Leo, in any chart, whether it's absent or not, is a big player in how you find your worth, figure out your worth, show your worth, prove your worth, whatever you want to call it. And my Black Lilith is in Leo, but I have no like major planets in there. And Black Lilith is kind of like the doubt. It's a self-doubt asteroid type, like void moon type of thing. It's some sort of like mathematical moon thing. I don't really know exactly what it is, but I know that when I've allowed my doubts to cloud my vision, I don't get anywhere. But even if I don't get anywhere, I get somewhere though. Like, I mean, like, I don't get to the place I want. That's really what I need to say. I don't get to the place I want. I get somewhere, but it's not what I want. That tends to be it. That's really more like it. It's not that I don't get anywhere. It's not getting to the place I want. So, I'll get back to the intention card. The cards here. And then, like, I'm going to do the magic spell because I think I've talked a long time and all of you were waiting for something to help something click. So we've got the 2 of Wands and the 5 of Wands. Facing life every day. Some days are more difficult than others. You have the power to rewrite your story daily and nightly. And afternoonly. I mentioned tea or coffee. The afternoon is a good time to plan too. You can plan. We have the 4 of Pentacles. which is Capricorn. Capricorn is all about planning. It's all about planning. And this is like the beginning stages of the planning. So you're in that beginning stage, perhaps, if you've sat through this reading. So now I'm going to do a magic spell for you, but it's for you to participate in. If you're not into magic, if it's not something you're interested in, then feel free to leave at this point. Thank you for staying this long. And I post these when I feel it's time. I do want to get to weekly postings for all the moon phases, you know, the 4 main ones. But it may not happen because I've just got a lot of projects I'm working on. Got a lot of intentions set, different things to manifest. So, if you're not into magic, thank you for staying, and thanks for listening. Till we meet again, safe travels. Now, for everybody else who's into magic, you're in for a treat because it's fun. It's just fun. So, here is this little stone that looks like a duck. Actually, it's a big stone. Kind of looks like a duck, and I love it. I love ducks, so. But focus your intention on how you want to rewrite your story. Now, let's put him this way. He kind of looks like a little birdie. Focus on how you want your life to be written. What is the thing that you want people to remember you for? Earlier we talked about life and death, and you know, what is the legacy that you want to leave behind? What is the legacy you want to set into motion? Focus on this stone here, just for a little bit. Put him in front of the pyramid. Gotta get that more. There we go. Okay, now you've got your intention. It's time to take these cards, these playing cards, and put them in motion. So, we've got the 7 of Swords on the east. And I'll do it with my right hand now because it's a little easier. We've got the 9 of Wands. You can't really see it. We got the 9 of Wands in the south. We've got the 2 of Wands in the west. Got 5 of Wands on the north. And then I'll pick this one up. Got the 5 of Swords going in the ether and spirit. That's a challenge. But perhaps there's something that can be done to make that just go slightly smoother. Alright. I've got a blessing here. I come up with these up on the fly. May you rewrite your story to help you achieve your goals and dreams. May you thrive, succeed, and come up with things that fill you with satisfaction. Usually my things rhyme, but this was a challenge. And I think that's the thing, is we have to get to a point where we're content and satisfied. And this guy isn't. It's time to move forward. So, thanks for listening. Until we meet again, safe travels. Bye.